Welcome to Monday Night Live, the weekly training that guides professionals to financial prosperity. Join our community and let's start building your wealth.
Tonight, I'm going to give you a little bit about what one of the topic tonight is actually a combined booklet and workshop, but not like you've seen it before. We're gonna sort of put it on steroids in both cases, and some of it's coming from what I got at the conference. Next week, there's no class, obviously Memorial Day. And then in June, I've asked Shastina if she could take one of the classes, specifically June 5th, and go over what was the main things you get out of the conference as far as marketing goes. And we may need a couple classes to go over all this. I'm going to do another one on AI. Let me go back to my notes here. Hang on one second. And also KV Core. There was a lot of good stuff that came out of this. Some people have some pretty amazing production numbers because of how they're using KV Core, others, how they're using AI. And I knew AI was extremely capable and way more advanced than anything I ever studied when I was in college. But the way it's being used is what's critical. So I still got to do some research and do some legwork on that before I can present it to you. But I've got actual things that you can tell AI, whatever AI bot you're using, the way you speak to the AI, right, makes a huge difference. So I've got things you can use to get listing presentations, all kinds of uses, as well as the actual tools themselves. So just sit tight on that. We'll have that probably by June 12th or something.
When you do that one, I've got prompts to find out your avatar and how to interact with it to get your perfect avatar also.
Okay. That's cool.
I just went to a seminar. Went to a seminar today talking about how to create your avatar and marketing, and really it's not marketing anymore. It's communicating. And that if you're not communicating, you're not marketing anymore. The old, house for sale, or houses sold, this is, we need inventory, blah, blah, blah. That's all passe. They don't care about any of that. And that you have to speak to, creating the picture. It's an art form now. And basically going in that direction and everything being AI. Yeah, I went to a 3-hour seminar on it.
What's amazing is the speed of innovation and technological development is just ever increasing faster and faster. And guys, this is nothing to be worried about. Honestly, this stuff, in addition to the improvement in the capability, this stuff's actually becoming easier to use. I mean, literally, if you can speak into a microphone, you can do this stuff. So I'm just hang in there. If you're feeling a little bit nervous about this stuff, don't be, okay? That's why we have the team, so we can work together on these things and come up with plans of action and actual action steps, okay?
So, hey Gary, this is Benetta. Yes. Can I ask a question about I think last week you mentioned that somebody had signed up with Smarty and they weren't satisfied. Is that true, or
was that me? I don't think I said that. I'm not sure. Maybe someone else may have said that. I don't recall.
Has anybody signed up with Smarty? And because he was talking about AI and
I think Kimberly in Florida signed up with Smarty and then decided not to, that she was not happy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was Kimberly that signed up, and I don't think that it was necessarily that she wasn't happy. It's just that there were other associated costs to do Smarty's plan that she was not expecting. And then when she got into it, she found that there were other costs, and her being a new agent, she wasn't ready to undertake those costs. So she stepped aside from it for the time being. But I think when she gets a few deals under her belt, she may come back to it. But you'd have to ask Kimberly that, Benetta.
That's correct. That was part of the reasons.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Well, guys, I want to tell you too, it was really nice seeing Shastina, and Shastina had somebody with her that she brought in. It's not on the team, but she's underneath her in her downline in Sarasota. And she's really doing well. And Targan came in. And of course, we met some other folks that we know before in the branch, some other new people. It was really a great event. I mean, they went all out. I mean, the evening events, guys, all the food and anything you could drink, all you could drink. I mean, it's just, I never saw anything like it. So in any case, more to come on that later, but for tonight, I'm gonna try to get this in on time, so we're not here real late. It's twofold, the booklet and the workshop. And the workshop, what I want to do is, let's talk about that first. In terms of the workshop, we typically talk about it in terms of working with investors. And absolutely, that's something you want to do. But you can also have gatherings, with people, just regular consumers. So, for example, who here, let me ask you this, let's do it this way. Raise your hand or type in the chat box. Have you ever done just a social event for your clients? Picnic, Christmas party, anybody could raise your hand or type in the chat box. Okay. Now, the second question is, did you do it on a consistent, regular basis? So if you could raise your hand on that, raise both hands. One hand is, yes, I did it. Second hand is, I did it consistently. Okay, that's Gina. See Gina, see Bonetta's. Is that one hand, Bonetta, or two? I got one hand. Okay. I got here two. Okay. Well, you have your Zoom hand, and then I had your other hand. So now you got three hands. All right. What I'd like to do is ask you guys just to chime in briefly and let me know, did that result in any referrals or additional business down the road? Like somebody that bought a home with you, eventually flipped a house or bought a duplex, or again, referral wise, and referred you to somebody else. Okay. And Gina, was that, if you don't mind, Gina, was that part of your basic marketing plan to do that? Or is that kind of fill us in a little bit, if you don't mind?
We had a neighborhood across the street from where I lived, and I wanted to go in and dominate that neighborhood. So I did all kinds of stuff for that neighborhood, but the one in specific was they did a parade around the 4th of July. And so we went in and celebrated that also. We also did stuff like we did pie for Thanksgiving and, whip up a referral and some things like that also. And for that one, you got whipped cream if you whipped up a referral. And if that referral was yourself, I allowed that also. We basically just gave whipped cream away, but they had to fill out little slips for it. And that was another one we did every year. Oh gosh, I have to rack my brain to think of what else we did, but we had a certain events that we did that we just constantly did. There's probably 4 of them total.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Bonetta, you want to share too?
Sure. So we did the pie giveaway at Thanksgiving. I was on a team. And so we did a pie giveaway at Thanksgiving. We did a Valentine's Day happy hour with, wine and cheese. We did a movie tickets, like we rented out a movie theater and gave tickets and asked them to bring referrals. We did pig roast. It was a big team. We did a lot of things, and yeah, I'm sure that brought in. We did a picnic. We did a thing at a winery that's not far from here. That was really nice. So I'm sure it brought in referrals, because we'd always ask somebody to bring somebody. So
okay,
the head count. So we did a lot of things.
Okay. And guys, I apologize. Was anyone else has done anything like this? I caught Bonetta and Gina, but I couldn't tell if there was other. Plus, there's 2 screens of pictures and names.
Gary, I didn't do things on a big scale per se. What we would do for our core advocates, kind of like the people who know, like you, like really tight, and we would do dinners for 8. So we actually had once a month, we would actually rotate to and have dinners, and like one person would do dessert, one person would do appetizer, one person would do the main course. And we actually get a lot of business. It was all in the area that we service, which was Heritage Hill. The other thing that we did was had tickets to the symphony. So we bought 2 season tickets, and we'd always bring 2 people of our past clients with us as our guests. So those are the 2 things that we would do consistently throughout the year.
Hey, Gary, Susan just asked me a question. I don't know if this applies or not, but she asked me where I got like really good business from. My best business, as far as referrals goes, was we provided lunch on moving day. They didn't know it. They weren't expecting it. We got it from Costco. We just showed up around because everyone thinks about maybe breakfast and they think about pizza for dinner, but nobody thinks about lunch. And so we did sandwiches from Costco, case of water. If I knew they were beer drinkers, then we would bring that also, but that one was, and then we also brought muffins for the next day, a thing of apples, a thing of toilet paper, paper towels, and Dove chocolates, because I always did Dove chocolates. So
That's awesome.
yeah, and so a big thing of that, and then with my cards in there. And so I got the movers, I got all the family and friends were all there helping. I got everybody, and everybody was always surprised. It was just this complete surprise that we did.
That's awesome. I love that.
That is good. And that's not that expensive either, you know?
It really wasn't. It was like $100 or something like that, tops.
Great idea.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So, by the way, Susan, I always love that scene of you in your rocking chair. When you're forced- You know, okay, now here's a couple others. So one of our colleagues, Darren, he's up in Cleveland. What he does is he likes, like me, he likes, skiing and golfing and stuff like that. He does an annual skiing event. I'm not recommending that, but the thing that he does do is he does a Top Golf thing. He became a member of Top Golf, and I guess I don't know what it all involves, but he can go. It sounds like he does it like every week, and he'll gets it's a group. You get an area that allows you to have like 6 people, right? So they'll just sit there and do Top Golf all on his dime for a couple hours on a Thursday night or Friday night, something like that. And he gets people consistently there, get some business that way. No, you can also do something that's extremely inexpensive or free if you already have a paddleboard or kayak. One of the top producers does a monthly kayak get together, just whatever it is, like every Saturday, whatever, the first Saturday of the month or something. So if you're near any water, ponds, lakes, rivers, the beach, whatever, and you like kayaking, just do that. It's very personal. It's fun, and you're not out there talking about business. You're just out there having fun. You're building relationships. So if you think about the purpose of a BNI group, remember BNI Business Network International, typically a group of maybe 10 people on average are looking for referral business to help help each other out. Well, if you're kayaking, they all know you're an agent, and when you're talking, and there's inevitably going to ask you stories, or hey, what's happening in the market, or you ever come across a good flip, let me know, that type of thing. You can always chime in and give them an example of something that happened in your career, right? A transaction like for a flip. What you're doing is you're reinforcing front of mind presence. You're doing it in a fun way that's very personal. It's not businessy. They don't have to, do anything special, dress up, whatever. They just show up in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt and flip-flops and hop on a paddleboard, right? So in any case, another one that's a really good idea, and I've actually seen this before, is if you're in a neighborhood, a big development, it's maybe got 300 homes or something, is do like a monthly, if not quarterly, at least potluck dinner, right? Do potluck. Everybody bring a covered dish. You don't actually have to cook anything. I mean, think about it. You're going to have a lot of leftovers too, by the way. So you get to eat for free for another couple of days. But again, the key is it's very personal. And just like Karen said at the very beginning, it's all about communication and having conversations with people, keeping that front of mind presence in a way that's fun. When we do the investor workshops, clearly there's a motivation there. People want to make money in real estate. But at the same time, something like this, like a monthly kayak thing that doesn't cost anything, man, if I was in production, I'd do that in a heartbeat. Especially in the summer months, if I'm not in Florida in the winter months. But wherever you are, you certainly can do that. You can potluck dinner year round. Let me.
I already got it.
Okay, thanks. Let's see.
By the way, Top Golf membership's only like $60 a month $100 if you pay monthly for the Platinum Elite membership. That's cheap.
Yep. Yep. Now I'll tell you a couple that I've done, okay? Was go to a local car dealership. Now, my opinion is don't just go to like, the big giant Ford or Chevy place when you can do that. But if you want to work with investors that actually have money, they're not going to make all the no down, low down, no money down type stuff. Is go to a car dealership that's selling, BMWs, Lexus, Mercedes, those kind of cars, okay? And offer to set up a booth, like a table in their lobby to give people information on real estate investing, right? You can't be real salesy. You got to provide, something that's tangible they can use. Now, what's an example of something you could bring with you that you could print out in advance and have, 50 copies with you? Who can think of an example of what you could bring to something like that?
Your booklet.
A booklet. Load it with examples of flips, guys. And remember, please write this down if you haven't remembered this already. It is so easy to find examples of flips. In fact, if Melinda Sands is on, she just did this with her booklet. Melinda, would you mind unmute yourself if you're on still? I can see your name with the mute symbol on. While she's hopefully getting on, here's what you do. You go into your MLS, okay? And you do a search on sold properties, and I would go back a year for your area. You can use the area field, you can use the zip code. Just remember, the wider the area, the more data you're going to have, right? So however big it is, what you do is you download that. Remember, you're going to get a resulting list of solds in the last year, and try to be somewhat, narrow it down 3-bedroom to 4-bedroom, because that's what most houses are that are being flipped. And when you download it on your hard drive, when you open it up, it's an Excel spreadsheet. Everybody with me so far? This hand raised, let me know if you're with me. Okay. Then you can sort it based on the address field. You sort it chronologically, oldest to newest on the address field, right? So what happens is it puts those properties together, right? Back to back. The first sale followed by the second sale. And what you're looking for as you're scrolling down is a big difference in the sale price from the first one to the second one. And wherever you see that, click on the second one, look at the pictures and look at the remarks. And now you've got yourself, and assuming it's going to say, brand new kitchen, brand new roof, brand new deck, whatever, they're generally not going to say, hey, this house was just flipped. They're never going to say that. They're going to tell you what was done to the house, new windows, new flooring, what have you. You can pretty much rest assured that was a flip. Okay. Especially if it's done within a year. Everybody with me on this? Now, what you do is you take the data from the first sale, where it's going to maybe have some crappy pictures and, tell you it's a handyman special, whatever. And then the second one, those pictures and those remarks from the agent, and put that in your booklet and show the difference and highlight the difference in price. You're not going to get all the details unless you call the listing agent on the second sale, and you can ask them, say, hey, I've got clients who are flipping too. That looked like a really good one. Would you mind telling me what that investor did to make it such a good flip? And sometimes don't be shy, don't be afraid, or don't be shocked if they tell you, well, they spent $130,000 on this. It was an amazing flip. That's what you're looking for. Okay. Now, the reason this works is you're not actually advertising those properties. What you're doing is you're showing them as an example of what's possible. It's a teaching tool is what it is. And that's perfectly legitimate to do that. You're not advertising a property for sale. You're using the data, and it's sold data, which makes it part of the public domain now. You can go to the county tax record, and all that data is available for the public eye. So you do that. Create a nice booklet, right? And I mean a nice booklet, right? And take bunches of those into the car dealership, right? And the joint venture part is you and the car dealer can pitch in together to provide coffee and donuts or hors d'oeuvres, whatever you want to do, right? That's your event. So the dealer's happy because he's got people coming in looking at all those nice new Mercedes, and you get to showcase some flips in the area and the fact that you're a trained investor agent and you can help them flip homes too. Let's just do a quick pause here. Does anybody have any questions on that?
How did you advertise or market that?
Good question. Okay. One of the things you're going to use, guys, is Eventbrite. Okay. Eventbrite is a tool. I'm sure you've all seen it because you've all probably been invited to something using Eventbrite. It's something that everybody recognizes and everybody's comfortable with, right? Think about it. When you get an Eventbrite invite for something that you're interested in, don't you normally go ahead and just do it? I mean, they make it easy. It's non-threatening. They're not asking you for your life history and your social security number. You know, it's an industry-wide recognized tool, and it's one of the top ones, quite frankly. Who here has used Eventbrite, by the way?
It has one of the highest open rates. Eventbrite and Zoom have the highest open rates.
Amen. Yep. Eventbrite's actually easier than Zoom, although the problem with Eventbrite is you don't get the tracking that you get with Zoom. Zoom gives you a lot of good tracking. Eventbrite doesn't give you very good tracking, but it's still it's a very well-received tool to invite people. So you create an Eventbrite, and then Susan, more specifically, once you have Eventbrite set up, is man, you want to promote that thing on Facebook, on LinkedIn. You want to send it to your database, okay? You want to get that thing out as many ways as you can. If it was me personally, I would start easily 4 weeks in advance, okay? The key is you want to build intrigue, you want to build momentum, right? And you have to be consistent. So I would start at least 4 weeks in advance, and I'd start out creating the Eventbrite, put it out there on Facebook. I would ask people to like it and share it, okay? You know, and quite frankly, they're going to go look at some really nice cars and get some intel on real estate investing in the area. I mean, you're going to get some takers, believe me, especially if you say hors d'oeuvres provided. Right?
So I've received invitations from Eventbrite. Is it easy to sign up to send invitations by Eventbrite?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I've even done it. It's been several years, Susan, but if I can, Beverly will tell you, if I can do it, it's easy.
Gary,
Yes.
I have a quick question. Okay, so two things. So number one, obviously, if you flipped your own houses, you could even put some of those in and say, you know, I've done it
Yes.
myself, and show some of the examples too, which obviously gives you even more credibility as an investor or an investor agent. So in addition to that, okay, so the gist of this is really you're basically finding a place that you can do this. So you're going to the dealership to partner with you, so you have a place to do it. And the advantage for them is they have a bunch of people coming into their dealership. Is that's the gist, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
And
well,
then maybe you're possibly, do they also do advertising for this event?
yes, they will. They will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'll give you a little tip. Here's what I learned. When I first did it, as you can imagine, I'm trying to go for the Saturday crowd, and I was getting no's, right?
Okay.
Finally, a dealer said, look, man, if you would just do this on Monday night, we'd say yes in a heartbeat because we don't have anybody coming here on Monday night. So I said, okay, let's do it on Monday night. And it worked. You know?
Oh, really?
Yes.
So did you have a good turnout?
Yeah. Yeah. We did it a couple times. Yep. So I did it with both dealerships too, but it was good, but it wasn't as good. And here's the other thing. You don't have to just use flips. You can use luxury homes. So like Lisa, for you personally,
Right.
man, this could be an awesome technique. You know, get with a luxury car dealership, and then you can showcase some high-end homes in the area. You know, you can even, you know, this might be a little bit of a stretch, although I think it will work, is bring in some examples of some of the ones that actually are advertised for sale. Technically, you're promoting them, but you're not doing broadcast promotions. You're not on the internet blasting these properties out there. Now, having said that, I know people are going to question this. Can I promote other people's listings? It is state by state, but the rule is if you're doing broadcast publicizing things, you should get the listing agent's permission in the states that don't require it. And in states that do require it, you have to get the listing brokerage's permission. There's only one exception to that rule, and that is HUD properties. HUD listed properties are open listings, which means you or I could get the listing, but any other agent could advertise that property without our permission. And I've had brokers fight me on this, and they're wrong. I'm telling you, I know for a fact, because I used to be a HUD listing broker. With luxury homes, you're not going to have that problem. You're not going to find many luxury homes going into foreclosure. You will in a bad recession. The last recession, I sold several luxury homes in foreclosure. But the point is you want to appeal to the crowd that you want to attract. So if you're going to have this at a Mercedes dealership and you're not really into the investor thing, do the luxury home thing. Okay. And bring your own brochures. So you're not putting anything electronically on Facebook on the properties, you're just putting them in your booklet. Okay. And that way you control what information they get. So they contact you. They might even say, I'd like to see this house on Saturday. And you say, fine, I'll get it set up, get them under a buyer's agency agreement. If you want to do that, I suggest it. And take them on a tour of luxury homes.
Gary, did you do this for commercial as well as residential?
On the investor side, yeah, but not necessarily like commercial by the technical definition. We weren't
Right.
only showcasing strip malls and storage facilities. We were really, quite frankly, just focusing on fourplexes and flips and things like that.
Okay, but you could do it just as easily.
Oh yeah, that would probably work
For
pretty good.
investors. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, I mean, if you're talking about investors, you could be really talking about anything.
Yeah, we try to, I'll tell you this, guys. One of the biggest complaints I hear about from agents about investors is there's a lot of the no down, low down, no money down guys. That's what I call them. And I learned early on, I was lucky because I was already working with like a couple of dentists and things like that. And so I had the experience of working with people that actually had money, right? Big transactions that bought better properties and the better prices, so I got better commissions. And I never had a problem with them getting loans. I mean, we closed almost all of them. But when I started my brokerage, I realized a lot of the agents, they were attracting the no money down guys. And they were trying to do the money down probably because they don't have money, right? And it's hard to make money from people that don't have money. So that's why we catered our marketing to the people that we knew instinctively would be typically business owners and or professionals, right? And typically would have more disposable money and be able to qualify for loans. That was 100% our modus operandi. So if you find yourself getting the no money down people, it's probably because of the marketing you're doing or you're not doing marketing, right? Because remember, if you go to the investor clubs, which I do want you to do, you go to RIA, R-E-I-A, RIA, okay, and make your mark, get to know the contractors, get to know the lenders, the attorneys, get to know all those people. And more importantly, you're going to have a small cadre of really good investors in that group that own a lot of properties. You want to get to know those guys and show them that you're different. You're not like just a typical agent. You're trained and you know what to do. And that way you can avoid all the other people that are just, scrounging like chickens scratching the dirt. That's what we used to call it. I mean, it sounds cruel, but that's, you want to work with people that have money is what I'm getting at. And you can determine that based on your marketing, right? Does this make sense, guys?
You can also use that same luxury thing and wine and cheese it if you're looking to attract in agents. And you could use Booklet type of a concept for that also, as we market completely uniquely than what anybody else does.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing about the boat dealership one, clearly you'd have to be around the water. Now, there was a lot of years of my life I was around the water. Even up in Pittsburgh, there's 3 rivers. That's why they call it the 3 rivers. They call it a lot of things, but it's known for its 3 rivers. And there's boats all over the place, right, Karen? All up and down those rivers. So
Yes.
what you would do?
Sorry, I was muted.
Oh, that's okay. So what you would do, guys, if you're near the water or you're near anywhere where people boat, is think about the types of properties that boat owners would want. What type of properties would boat owners want? They want properties on the water with docks, right? Or condos in a condo development that provides docking for their boats, right? So showcase those properties, right? Make sense, guys? Who here feels like this might be something you want to do? Just show of hands or type in the chat box. It's actually one of the easier things. The only awkward part is you got to kind of, you want to dress the part, obviously, but you got to show up and be there and be able to manage a lot of conversations. You want to have somebody with you, you want to have somebody helping to be like a traffic cop and help hand out things and tee people up. And if you're busy in a conversation and wealthy people are not going to wait in line more than a few minutes to talk to you. So have somebody with you say, look, clearly this is a very hot subject. That's why we do it. Gary's great. Bonetta's great. Lisa's great. I'll take your information. We'll set up an appointment. In fact, would you be available later today or tomorrow for a conversation? Have somebody with you to set appointments for people that are in a hurry. Okay. Really important. Right. And if you're not sure who you would take with you, go online, whatever brokerage you're in EXP, go to EXP roster, find who's in your area, look for the newbies. Say any newbies want to come with me to a luxury home event at a luxury car dealership to help me coordinate. I bet you'll get some takers and braid them in. You know, share the love with them. Okay. Really important that you have some help, guys. I can tell you, it doesn't take too many people to have it become overwhelming, right? Because remember what Karen said, if you want to have the conversation with people, it's all about building rapport and building relationships. I promise you, you're not there to sell. You're there to build a relationship. Later on, you're going to sell. Okay. So in any case, I never did a booklet like this, but I'm thinking if you're around the water and you want to do this with boat dealerships, is, you know, obviously build a booklet that has properties on the water with docks, but why not put a boat or two in there, right? I'm telling you, every boat's for sale. I know I used to own 3 of them. There are 2 of them. 2 of them, one I rented and the other 2 I own. But they're always for sale, you know. In any case, you're not a boat dealer, I get that, but what you're doing is you're helping out the boat dealer. So in any case, so back to promotion. You want to, you know, use everything at your disposal, particularly Facebook, in the booklet, your email, and Eventbrite, okay? But the other thing is this, guys, is the personal touch. You want to make sure you involve your sphere. You don't know who in your sphere is going to be interested, so that's why you involve your sphere, all right? And you want to make the marketing and promotional part also personal. I mean literally call people. If you're looking at your database, think through who you know and who they might know, right? The person you know might not be interested in buying a boat or buying a luxury car or even buying a luxury home or flipping a home, but they might know somebody who is. And the only way to find that out is to actually call them or text them. So this is really where I want to kind of leave this with you is, of all the events I've been involved in, and when we're talking well over 1,000 over the years, way over 1,000. The ones that were most successful are the ones that we literally picked up the phone and called people, okay, and followed up with text. So let me just take a deep breath here. Let you guys, if you have questions, type them in. I just heard Topgolf today, or Topgolf. Yeah, Topgolf is great. Anybody can do it. I mean, believe me, last Thursday night, most of the people there had never golfed before. In fact, Shasteen and her friend Janet had never golfed. By the end of the night, they were smacking those balls way out, hundreds of yards out. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. Like, holy crap. And they're both saying, I'm going to play golf now. They're going to take up golf. If you've never done it, guys, I just learned 2 years ago, it's fun. You know, it doesn't have to be expensive either, like I used to think. So in any case, the personal touch is what you're going to write down in big, bold, capital letters. Okay. Personal touch, phone call and text. All right. Don't just rely on email and Facebook and LinkedIn and stuff like that. Remember, an Eventbrite, by the way, is your registration tool. But believe it or not, Eventbrite, because you're using Eventbrite, you're going to get some extra bang for your buck in promotional efforts there. They're going to help you get the word out. They want you to be successful. You know, people Google that stuff, and Eventbrite's going to have your event out there, and they're really smart about getting, you know, attracting people, right, and getting Google points. Okay, everybody okay so far? Is any questions? Everybody okay? All right. Now, how do you ensure that people are actually going to show up? Because it's one thing to register, it's a whole other thing to have people actually show up. So you want to have a reminder sequence, okay? And this is where Beverly really shines with this stuff, guys. I mean, over the years, she's just a flat out genius. She would do a 3-part reminder process, okay? So typically 2 days in advance, she would send a reminder email. Okay. The next day, she would send a text. Now with Zoom, you can schedule all this stuff with Zoom, but if you're using Eventbrite, I don't know if does anybody know, does Eventbrite have a reminder function that you can utilize? I can't remember. It's been a long time for me.
If you have a paid version, you can. If you're using the free one, I don't think you can, but if you have a paid version, you can.
Yeah, they do. I don't remember if it was free, but that's what we used to use when we sent out our invitations to and they did definitely send out a reminder.
Do you guys know what the paid version is, by the way? We should find out. If one of you wouldn't mind, Google that real quick, just to see what that is, and we can tell the group here.
I'll look it up.
What's that?
I will look it up.
Oh, thank you. So the reminder sequence. So texting, we would also, or we would send out mass text the afternoon of the event. So let's say we're doing this Monday at 5 or Monday at 7, whatever it is. You want to make sure you get that out there in the afternoon, because people are still at work and they're believe me, it gets distracting. And you're thinking about picking your kids up from school and going to soccer practice and going to the grocery store and all this stuff. And it's easy to forget. But if you remind them, luxury car dealership, invest in your area, right? And get some free food. Okay. You're going to get some people show up, but you have to remind them, and it should be 3 parts there. 3 ways. Eventbrite would be one reminder if you have the paid version. Your email will be another one. Text will be another one. And depending on the responses we're getting, we would actually phone call people, right? We would phone call them to invite them weeks in advance, and then we phone call them to remind them the day before, right?
You can use slide dial and services like that to do a phone call blast. I don't know if you can KV Core, you might be able to.
I think KV Core has that. Yeah, it's one of the add-ons you can get. So
the other thing we did, Gary, also is we always did a giveaway for an investment class. I would probably do maybe 3 good investment books, because they're going to be interested in, that's a great tie-in. We advertised that there was a door prize. We told them about it at the beginning. We also said that if you show up there, you get an entry for your guest will also get an entry, but you get an additional entry for every guest you bring. And that drawing is at the end, so that you can make sure that if you're going to be talking for an hour or whatever it is, that's at the end to keep their butts in that room.
Yeah. Well, I know a really good book I can recommend too.
I do know one of those. That would be at the top of the stack, type with the bow.
We call it the mothership, the massive passive cash flow method. Do that one. It's got everything in it. That's why it gets the reviews. It still sells today. It's crazy. Just do that one. The Global Investor Agent book, that would obviously be more for the agents, But massive passive cash flow method, believe me, that's what, I don't know how, if it's huge, 400 or 500 pages. It's a big book. But in any case, that's another great. Say, look, you can get a free book on investing, right? A free drawing. So, a couple of things to remember, guys, is you want to document everything you're doing and keep everything you're doing. Create a separate folder on your hard drive to keep everything. The Eventbrite invitations, your emails, your marketing sequences, all that stuff. Track everything. Tracking and measuring is really important. Systems. What you're doing is you're making it easier the next time you do this. The first time you do it, guys, it's going to be a lot of work. I'm telling you, it's going to take some time, but boy, is it worth it. And every time you do it thereafter, it gets easier and easier. Then you're just basically rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Frequency is pretty important. If it was me, I wouldn't do the boat ones more than a couple times a year. I mean, it's not something that people buy all the time, but investing is something people are always interested in, right? And you could do it. And by the way, you'll have dealerships tell you, hey, you do it with me. You can't do it with any other dealer around here. You only can do this with me. You can agree to that if you want. But what I would do is put a time frame on it and say, I won't do it with another dealership for 3 more months, something like that. So they can get all the sales they're going to get out of it. People are more likely to buy a car than they are to buy a house, believe it or not. In any case, it allows you to establish your systems and your routines. Okay. And part of that the systems and routines is the measuring and the tracking. I can't emphasize how important this is, and I'm living proof that if you don't do it, you're going to regret it. If you do measure and track, you're going to love yourself for it because it helps you make better decisions going forward. Yeah, go ahead, Gina. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. You have a 24-hour to 36 window after the event to follow up with everybody, and that's pretty much it. So make sure if you do an event, you've got that booked into your calendar also, because sometimes the phone call, the communication phone call afterwards might take a little while and you need time to be able to hit all that. And then also set aside time within that same window, that a day, no more than 2 days later, and in your head, go back through every single thing, what worked, what didn't, because you're going to take your system that you've built that says 4 weeks out, we do this, 3 weeks out, we do this, 2 weeks out, we do this, etc. And you're going to change it for the next event. You're going to keep on honing it until it's a machine. So just make sure you set aside that afterwards time also for follow up and then to analyze what it is that you've done.
Yeah. You know, planning, budgeting, it's all part of the same genre of organization. You know, you remember, feel, think, speak, and act like a business person. Treat this like it's a business function, because it is. Because you want to hold yourself accountable. And if as you grow, some of you are growing teams, you know, you want to hold your team accountable, and your team wants to hold you accountable too, by the way. They're going to ask you results. You know, what are the results from this? Excuse me. Budgeting, that should be part of your planning and how much you want to spend on this. That's why I like joint venturing. The car dealership's free if the location's free. And if you JV on the food and beverage, you cut those costs in half. Now really, you know, creating and printing the booklet is going to be the next thing. Sorry. And you can determine how many you're going to print based on the registrations. Okay. So if I get 50 registrations, I'm going to do 50 booklets. I know some people won't show, but guess what else is going to happen? Other people will show that did not register. There's going to be just regular consumers popping in because they want to buy a new Mercedes that night, you know. But also you get a lot of people that won't register. They know they're going to show up, but they're not going to register. They just don't want to put in their name and email, you know. Maybe they're not even sure they're going to go. But believe it, you will get some people there. So in any case, if you can keep in mind the concept of networking and strategic partnerships, it's really, really important. It's another way of networking, just like B&I is, just like being part of a RIA group or creating your own group. You know, like Betty belonging to the Tampa Club. You know, she didn't belong there in the beginning. She didn't join till later on. You know, she's always got something going on. You know, she's an excellent example of networking because you want to build those strategic relationships. Think about the consumers that you want and the consumers that these people want. They're often the same consumers, right? You can do JVs with lenders and lawyers and you know, tax accountants and things like that, and they're all great. You know, we've done that before. But there's something kind of fun about a car dealership. There's something kind of fun about a boat dealership that you just can't get, you know, through an attorney or an accountant. I'm sorry anybody who's an attorney or accountant related to them, but you know, it's generally, you know, if you have a JV with an attorney, you're gonna have to go to a restaurant or some other venue you have to pay for, right? Does this make sense, guys? Okay. By the way, that may be another vendor that you could have pay for the food. Just talk to the car dealership and say, look, I know a really good attorney or a tax accountant or a lender. How about a lender? Lenders lend money on people buying cars just like they lend money on people buying homes. I say, bring in a vendor, bring in a lender, have the lender buy the food. Now you're down to just the cost of printing booklets. Okay. Hey, Lisa, I got a call on. Does this sound like something you may want to entertain for your luxury clients or prospects?
Yeah, and we do boating here, so we could combine. I wrote down to bring a lender and the boat dealership that's across the street from Mercedes, and you know, yeah. So there's all kinds of possibilities here.
I see a new car and a boat in your future. You know.
No boat. No, not out here. I'll ride in somebody else's. I know.
Isn't that funny? Everybody says that that's had boats in the past. It's like, nope, I have friends with boats. I'm happy. You know,
Yeah.
so, okay, let me see here. Relationship building, networking, strategic planning. By the way, would you agree this probably really helps you hone in on and sharpen your communication skills? Yep. You're speaking business language with other business people, right? So I just love the whole idea of this thing, and I hope you guys will take it to heart. If you want to flesh out some details one-on-one, just set up a strategy call. And just like just full disclaimer here, if you've already got your 3 things that you're doing, you don't want to take this on unless you have the capacity for it, or one of your other things you're going to put on the back burner for a bit. Okay, remember marketing. I had a great conversation with Darren Mancuso about this at the event. Most marketing does not last forever, right? Think about the old McDonald's, 2 Albany patties, special sauce, lettuce cheese. We can all remember it, but they haven't run that ad for years. It ran for a long time because it worked, but then it started losing its momentum. Same thing with the Honda commercial, where they were the target and all the arrows were being shot at the Honda. That was a huge hit for Honda, and it just stopped working. Any marketing over time is going to start to lose its luster. The only exception I've ever seen is the letter campaign. And the reason is the letter is so highly targeted, right? That you're so specific, you're not going to keep sending a letter 500 times to the same people. You're going to send a letter 12 times. Then you do the next group, the next file of people, right? So the booklet is really a branding tool. You always want to have something going out there, guys. I like the booklet because I know a lot of agents that have a newsletter, and they literally call it, I've seen this, John's newsletter, Jane's newsletter. Man, don't do that. If people are seeing newsletter 5 times out of 100 in their emails, call us something else like monthly profit booster. We do have a newsletter called monthly profit booster. We don't send it out to outside consumers. We build it for you guys to use. So you can build your own newsletter, call it something else like profit booster, right? So remember that if you're looking for another marketing campaign and you want an easy one, just copy what we're doing. Go into the website, go into newsletter, and they're all out there going back for 2 or 3 years now since we started the team. And grab yourself some of those newsletters, copy the content. And I know some of the agents on the team to do that on a monthly basis. They just clone it every month, make their own version of it, right? Put your name and your contact information, not mine, and do that. But don't call it newsletter. And just trust me on that one. But in any case, that's a branding tool. That's not something you stop. That's something you keep doing because that branding is different than advertising to sell a property, right? So in any case, I'm starting to go down a rabbit hole here, but I was talking about 3 campaigns. This is one I would definitely get behind. It's the end of May, peak boating season. People love having new cars. And think about it. When do people buy new cars? Mostly in the summer, in the sunnier months, other than Christmas. You'll get car sales around New Year's, but for the most part, people are more likely to buy cars in the summer months. Okay. They're out there washing the car. They're more aware of other cars. Their neighbor just bought a new car. All those things are factors in people's psychology. So, okay. Let me check the questions here. If you guys have questions, please type them in. And for the guests too, guys, if you're a guest on the class tonight, the way we do things is it's open to the public. You can ask anything you want about the subject matter. If you want to connect with one of the agents on the class here, absolutely do that. What was the name of the book that Gary suggested to give? Oh, Tom, it's the Massive Passive Cash Flow Method. And Gina put in the thank you, Gina, put in the Amazon link. Some of the content I've given out to people over the years, like the creative purchasing techniques, the commercial section, those 2 sections I've given out probably several hundred times over the years. But the book itself, it's actually one of the most complete manuals on investing that I've ever. I'm not saying it because I wrote it. I don't really do that for myself, but I've read a lot of other books. Susan Murray, My Battery's Dying. Thanks, Susan. Susan, have a good night in the rocking chair. Okay, so let's get back to the booklet. We talked about putting flips in there. You can also put in there market reports. Remember, you can use the booklet for the general consumer. So one of my favorite examples is Modupe. If you don't know her, we call her Mo. She's in St. Louis. She created a version of the booklet that I've sent out to probably most of you already, that has market data on her neighborhood, right? Several hundred homes. She gives a section on what's active, section on what's under contract, and a section on what's sold in the last several months. And she gives neighborhood information. Remember, the booklet you can change for regular consumer business too. You can also, there's a lot of things you can do, guys, with the booklet. I'll give you some other ideas. Who here is in Gina's morning session every morning? Well, every morning is the Wealth Builders. Okay. All right. There was a day several months ago when Gina was out, but the week before Gina had talked about a contest where you guys all create little videos, and there was an accountability to it. Like you had to come back and say, I created 1, I created 3, I created 5, all short videos that you can use on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, you name it. And people were wanting to know what some of the topics were. And here's some of the topics we came up with Monday through Friday. So you can do this in your booklet too. So Monday, we came up with the phrase Monday's mansions. You could showcase mansions in your area and do that every Monday. You could 1 month, you could do a booklet, call it the, this month's mansions, something like that, and showcase some of the mansions in the area there. All right. Tuesday, I'm trying to remember what we said for Tuesday. Tuesday's tours. I think it was tours on Tuesdays. So you could showcase things that people could do, not just property tours, obviously, but things that they can do in the area. I think that was the subject there. So you want to interweave things that are of human interest, okay? Just general human interest. I think Wednesdays was waterfront Wednesdays. So if you live near the water, any water, creeks, rivers, lakes, doesn't matter. Wednesdays, waterfront homes, or waterfront Wednesdays, I think is what it was, waterfront Wednesdays. So you could take an edition of your booklet and just showcase waterfront homes, okay? Thirsty Thursdays was just like it sounds. You showcase a couple of watering holes around town, right? Remember, human interest, okay? And Fridays was Financial Fridays. So you can talk about investing on Fridays, right? Leave them on Friday afternoon with the idea of investing, flipping a home, buying a rental, what have you, over the weekend. What I'm getting at is you could have editions of your booklet with those themes, right? One particular book is showcasing watering holes around the area. Another one showcasing flips. Another one showcasing rentals. Another one showcasing waterfront properties. Another one showcasing mansions. The whole key is to attract people and do it through human interest, right? What are people interested in? What's fun? I mean, let's face it, just everybody raise your hand if you ever, in any given month, you watch any of the flipping shows. There's like, I don't know how many are out there, there's a bunch of them. I watch them and I'm in the business because they're still, I think they're fun, I know they're not entirely realistic, but it doesn't matter. They're fun. You take an old crappy property, you fix it up, it looks beautiful at the end, and somebody gets a nice new looking home, So if that's what we already know consumers are interested in, give them that. People love waterfront homes. Everybody loves mansions, give them that kind of stuff, right? Give them the flips. And I promise you, your booklet is going to be your calling card. And you don't have to print them all. Remember, one of the key tenets of the booklet is once you create it, you can save it on Google Drive. They get a Google Drive link, okay? And then you put the Google Drive link in an email, in a Facebook post, in a text, Instagram, you name it. Now, if it was me, I would take that Google Drive link and first run it through either tinyurl, TINYURL, or bit.ly, BITLY, and get a short link and put the short link in your messaging, okay? So, okay, that was pretty much what I had for tonight, and we're right at 8 o'clock Eastern, so that's perfect timing. For those of you who are guests, generally what I'll do is I'll stick around another half hour for Q&A. But if anybody feels like you got your fill and you had your 1 hour and you got to go do other things, I won't be upset if you had to leave. I appreciate you being on for the hour. But if you do want to stick around, I'll stick around for up to a half hour and we can do Q&A on stuff.
Hey, Gary.
Yes, ma'am.
So last week when we were talking about Zudilio and I gave out the token key.
Yeah.
So I looked at the token key in my KB Core and I realized that it is co-branded with another agent's information.
Oh.
So I'm hoping nobody sent it out without looking at it. But anyway, I called Zudilio today and I was like, hey, we can't send this out. It's got it's JW and it's a lady and she's in Atlanta and it's got all that information. So they're working on that because they were not aware of that. I'm always the catalyst for change. That's me. That's my goal and that's my thing in life.
Mhm.
Well, if you want to know what's wrong with something, just let me look at it a little bit and I can come back and give you some ideas. So I called them, so they're working on it. So please don't send that out before, because I just noticed that and I just wanted to make everybody aware of it.
Okay.
Thank
you. Yeah.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
Good.
Speaking of Zudilio, I had like 5 accepted, but they were off market. So when you get to that point to get 5 accepted and then you bring those contracts to the table, they start getting quiet, because I found out when I did the research of the properties that they weren't the actual owners and they did not have assignments to the properties. So you got to watch the off market properties. They might ask for a $500 or $5,000 EMD, and then if you click that button and give who would give 5,000, but if you fail for that, then they disappear. You know, so I even went to an owner's house, pulled out the PT 61 and asked him was he's the owner of this property that's listed for sale. He said he's not the owner, but he is the owner because I pulled the deed and I asked him, is this your name under his corporation? So now you got a owner putting a property on there and he's frauding. He has somebody representing him. So that's what I came across. But Georgia's pretty close when it comes to some of these offers. These homes on the market, you know, they're overpriced anyway. They're not matching the assessed value.
Right.
But so far, you know, that's how it's going.
Okay.
I was going to ask you what you did because I ain't having that luck in Virginia.
On the off market, you get those off market properties that they're selling.
Yeah, we had
you just got to make sure they legit, you know. But
yeah,
when you got the owner frauding, that's crazy.
What I'm gathering from everybody, guys, that people are doing this is they're actually having more success with the loading up the FSBOs and expireds than they are with like wholesale deals. I know even I don't know if Tim's on tonight, but he was telling me that he had two things happen. One of them was some of the buyers kind of backed out, who got cold feet when they realized they had to pay an assignment fee to even get the contract, the sales agreement to be able to buy the property, and then, you know, commission on top of that. That was one hurdle. The other one though was this is and it sounded like Zudilio would fix us. He had like 9 offers on one property, and he said about 4 or 5 of them were good, legitimate. Even though the cash, they were right within that range, that either at or above list price. But by the time he got the offer, it had been 3 days, and the seller, and in the case, the seller had already had the thing on the contract because it was priced right. So now Zudilio apparently has the offers are now instant. Have you guys noticed that? Is anybody else using Zudilio?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I would try, Chris, is go in and load up a couple of expireds from the MLS. Just do a search for yourself. So you get notified whenever there's expired, and load it up there. And now, again, this goes back to advertising other people's properties. If they're on the MLS, it's fair game. However, some states, there's a rule that says you have to ask the other agent. Well, the case of an expired, it's expired. You can communicate with them. And the way it works is you get the cash offer. You may have it come to you, not to the owner.
Right.
You call the owner and say, look, I know you just had a property expired and I get it. You're probably not happy. However, I do have a cash offer and I can probably get more. It's legitimate. Are you interested in receiving a cash offer or cash offers on your property? And then it's a much easier conversation, you know?
Yeah, and you got to watch the FLMLS or the FMLS. They don't update to I think they update like I think a month off, something like this. It's not, so you have to actually, when you go to the expire, you got to check it online as well to make sure it's not reactive, because some of them were like that. But yeah, I definitely have tried that, and yeah, it's going. And forsalebyowner.com. You can actually go on there, put the criteria in, you can make bids directly to the owner of the property. Forsalebyowner.com. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I didn't know that even existed.
Yeah, forsalebyowner.com. The owners are actually listed, and it says make an offer. So you can actually click and make them an offer, and it goes directly to the seller.
Okay. Okay. Well, that sounds, so you can take your cash offer then and key it in yourself, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay. Well, I like that one. So, okay, and for anybody using Zudilio and that whole program, definitely you get it up and running, get it going. But remember, you want to make sure you have at least one more and ultimately two more marketing campaigns going on too. And what you want to think of is in terms of what can you do that's complementary with what's going on with Zudilio. Okay, so what's complementary is you can use ReallyFlow, right, to find properties that where owners likely to be interested in selling, and then contact them, right, with your cash offers and say, look, I'm not suggesting you sell if you don't want to. However, I'm getting some cash offers coming in, and some of them are on properties just like yours. Would you be interested in receiving a cash offer on your property, right? In that way, and even if it doesn't work, you can say, look, clearly you want more than these cash offer people. People make cash offers, want good deals, really good deals. So let's put it on the system to see what regular consumers would pay, because they're generally going to pay, list price or close to it. And so, you don't even have to have second offers, but at least you'll know what your property really would sell for, So in any case, thanks, Andre. Yep. So, but by the way, Andre, thanks for what you did. Guys, I just want to give Andre a pat on the back. He put on an event at Topgolf last Thursday at the conference, and for our team members aware, he actually paid for that, and that was a nice big surprise. Now, I'm not saying everybody call Andre and ask him for money. That's not what I'm saying. But he's an awesome guy, guys, and really does a lot for us. So hope everybody gives him a pat on the back, and he's an awesome guy,
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate that. Yeah, I just wanted to treat you guys, to everyone that made it there. It was fun. Happy to be in business with all of you, and looking forward to continuing growing.
We appreciate all you do for us, Andre.
Yes, we do.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate that. Hope to see you guys all in Vegas for sure. I already bought my tickets. If you're at the conference, you could get a reduced price ticket. So that was cool. And then Brent Gove's events is going to be San Antonio, Texas, coming up here soon. Build's going to be in Texas. So might be going to that one as well. Definitely a good one to get your prospects to.
Okay.
I'm going to go to Vegas. It's my first time going to the Vegas event, so I'm looking forward to that one. So we have the plane tickets. I think I have the ticket also. I'm not sure on that one, but I know I have the plane tickets. So either way, I'm going.
They're gonna be doing an EXP Con in Canada too. The first Canadian EXP Con. That's going to be in Vancouver, British Columbia, I believe, September.
You gotta say A.
Excuse me?
You have to say A when you talk about the Canadians, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Andre, is that going to be separate than the regular EXP Con, like a separate one?
Yes.
Are you guys making fun of me?
Maybe.
That's gonna be separate. It's gonna be.
Be careful of
Canadian.
the whole Canadian thing, guys.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the
Had
first.
a food enough?
Or she'll knock you out.
That's right. That's correct.
That's gonna be the first Canadian EXP con.
Wow,
So-
that's interesting.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
I might as well just get myself an RV, man. I can, you know. be
Well,
all
some
in
Canadians
one.
don't have, they don't have their passports and stuff or green card or whatever it is where they can't travel. So I had a lot of team members that just have never came over to States.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be good to get everybody there.
Well, in Bellingham, where the headquarters is right over the
Yeah.
line, you know?
Yeah, it's nothing to it from there. I had some good conversations with some Canadians because of what America's market is facing and going through versus what Canadian market is facing and going through. And it's just, it was very interesting. So that's cool. Yeah, I'm assuming on EXP, they'll let everybody know when the Canadian one is.
Oh, yeah, it's already out there.
Okay, cool. I'll go look at that.
Yeah, just go to Workplace and look it up for. I'm pretty sure it's September, but don't quote me. Coming up.
Okay.
Actually, I think it's before September, so don't quote me on the date.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. Hey, Targan, if you want to unmute yourself, you must be on the second screen.
Hello,
There's Targan. Hey, how you doing, Targan?
I'm good. How are you, Gary?
Good. Yeah, I realized now, I forgot to get back to you on I think you texted me about this. The logos are actually on, I think they're in the,
I found them actually in the My Investment Services.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure, and I guess this is for anybody who, just a little FYI, at this summit, if you're trying to get marketing material, they're running a promotion until Friday with 60% off, which is unheard of because they never do 60%. From what they say, it's usually 30 or so, but they're doing 60%. So if you need banners, if you need cards, if you need signs, if you need posts, if you need frames, all that, that is available. So with that, one of the things that I've, as I get my niche within my niche, and just so everybody knows, the summit was great. I met, great folks, got a lot of awesome information, and I found my niche within my niche of what I'm going to do. So I'm excited. I kind of have a whole blueprint of how I'm going to have world domination. So anyways, you guys hold me accountable for that, accountability. But for marketing purposes, I just wanted to see, I know even this is for new people who have come in or who are coming in. We are part of the Global Investor Agent Team, GIA Team, right? Mm-hmm. So we're using the logo like the one you have back there for the Gary Wilson. And then it's GIA. Are we putting the word team at the end? Are we just saying we're Global Investor Agents? Or kind of just, so I know this is a super detail, but just trying to get understanding.
Yeah, great question. That's just a reminder for everyone, on your own marketing material, don't use the word team. What you want to do is say, Lisa Sears, Global Investor Agent, right? Targan Wade Jones, Global Investor Agent. Don't use the word team. There's a number of reasons for that, but one of them is some of the folks on a team are already developing their own teams, implementing their own models, right? Which is perfect. That's exactly the intent for this entire design and this team was to not just have it be one directional and one level like the Gary Wilson team. That's not what it is. It's a Global Investor Agent team. And you guys, because of the way we structured it,
recording in progress,
to build and promote your own things. Okay. Going forward. It makes things easier when it comes to compliance with the state marketing rules. Some states are very strict. Like if you use the word team, that team has to be set up legally as an entity in that state, right? There's a lot of other technical things behind the scenes, but don't worry about that. The main thing is this is all about you and promoting yourself. So you can literally say, Targan Global Investor Agent, the Targan Home Team, something like that. You can use team for yourself. And people
Well, that's just it. So going back a year, when I created all type of marketing for my own kind of branding with this, fast forward, Florida, they shut it down. They will not let you do anything. You can't use the word team, realty, anything that says that you sell houses, you cannot use that word. So it's really, they're super sticklers for it. I mean, it's down to the state rules and regs. It's ridiculous. So that's why I was like, you know what, I'm just going to strip everything from individuality and just embrace as far as the team, which I'm totally fine with that. I just want to make sure for marketing purposes that I'm putting out what we are as a team or as, you know, an agent or however I should use it, just so I don't get in any more trouble or waste any more money.
Right. Yeah, Florida's weird that way. You might be able to use group, right? But I would check it on first. I think in Florida, if you use the word team, you have to have your name in it. It has to say the target team, something like that. Who knows? Maybe they got even more strict, you know?
Yeah, and even if you're a part of a team, which I told them, because I actually had a nice spirited conversation with one of the brokers. So he's basically, I can't use anything, but he's like, if you're a part of a team, you just have to use your team name. You can't use anything on your own. You can't put your name on anything. You have to use whatever the team's name is. Otherwise you have blah, 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 blah. But anyway, so I'm just going to use Global Investor Agent under the tagline. And as long as that's cool with you, and as far as the logo, I'll use the same, you know, the triangular, if, you know, as far as anything on a business card or whatever case, and just kind of strip it down, and that should be suffice. But I just want to get clarity from you. So thank you.
Yeah, that's great. You're exactly right. And we don't want you to use the word team and you're one of the reasons was the one you just gave. So, yeah.
Gary, I always looked at your logo as the triangles as being W. It's kind of how I just saw it.
It looks like a BMW?
No, like W, like the blue and red triangles were like W.
Well, you know what it was?
How I saw it.
When we first created that was back in 2008, and we paid a marketing guy, and he came up with the colors and it literally stood for the word win, because the brokerage was called the Win, Win Realty Advisors. So everybody on my team was called an advisor. And if you look at your state, you're not the real estate commission rules, but your board's rules, they'll have right in there that the words, we advise, consult, and guide our consumers in the sale and purchase of real estate. And most states have those words in there. So we said, great, we can't get in trouble with this because they told us that this is what we're doing. So we call ourselves advisors. It works perfectly, you know?
Nice.
Yep. So, any case, thanks, Rob, for that. Okay. Any other thoughts or questions, guys? Anything you want to add or share?
I have a quick question. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he was talking about if something was expired, you got to look at something else, MLSW or MLSF or something. Where is that?
In Georgia, we have the FMLS and the GIA MLS. And so you look up expired listings, and I noticed when I looked up the expired listings and I took it on Zillow, it was active. So it's like their data, I think their data is not instant. So that even though it says expired, it may been reactive. It may went back on the market, but it hasn't updated in the FMLS.
Yeah,
so I was just saying.
We don't have that. We don't have that here.
Oh, okay.
We have just a regular MLS.
Yeah.
I was just curious. It's like, is there something I'm missing? Okay, thanks.
Yep. You're welcome.
Okay. All right, going once. Let me check the chat box real quick here. Everybody's just saying thank you and good night. Okay. Going once, going twice. Remember, no class next week for folks who came on late. It's Memorial Day. And we'll see you the following Monday. And please set up your one-on-ones. If you haven't set up a one-on-one, please use that link and set it up. Okay. Okay. Third time's a charm. You guys have a good night, a great rest of the week. Take care of yourselves. God bless you and your families. And I'll see you, well, either on one-on-ones or the next class.
Thanks, Gary.
Have a good night.
Thanks, guys. Bye, everyone.
All right. Good night.
Thank you for watching this episode of Monday Night Live. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and go to realestatewithgarywilson.com to join our community and start building wealth today.